An umbilical cord hanging out of someone's pants. Sounds like a horror movie, right? But it's real. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Allie.
And I'm Brianne.
Okay, quick update. The barista totally gave me, the wrong thing this morning. I asked for a latte and I swear it was just hot milk and vibes. I still drank it because, it's coffee, right?
I watched her drink the entire thing while insisting it would magically become espresso if she believed hard enough. Manifestation, but for caffeine.
Welcome to the Veil, Unsolved and Unbelievable, where we chase the strangest corners of human behavior, and sometimes aliens. I'm just saying. Today we're diving into the chilling case of Taylor Renee Parker, the woman who faked a pregnancy and committed a horrific crime.
So we're talking about a total psycho today. Great. Can't wait. Sorry, not sorry.
Here's the deal. This is a true crime story that is, unbelievably dark. Taylor Renee Parker, also going by Taylor Morton and Taylor Way Casey, spent months pretending to be pregnant. Not just telling people. We're talking a silicone belly, fake ultrasound printouts, a whole gender reveal party, a maternity photo shoot. She used that ruse to get close to a young mom-to-be named Reagan Simmons-Hancock in New Boston, Texas. Reagan was 21 years old and 36 weeks pregnant in October 2020. And this is important. Parker had already had a hysterectomy years earlier, after complications from an ectopic pregnancy, meaning biologically she could not be pregnant. But she kept the lie going with, medical-sounding talk and social proof. She had worked around an OB/GYN clinic at points in her background which, helped her use the right terminology and seem legit. She also told different stories about being an heiress, having tons of cash. Just a pattern of big, confident lies. On October 9th, 2020, Parker went to Reagan's home. The forensic evidence shows a violent attack across multiple rooms. She then removed the baby via a crude cesarean with a scalpel she brought with her. She fled toward Oklahoma. A Texas Highway Patrol trooper stopped her for erratic driving in DeKalb. And here's that moment from the teaser. He sees an umbilical cord visible down her pants. That triggered a rush to the hospital in Idabel, Oklahoma. At the hospital, staff ran tests and determined she had not given birth, was not pregnant, and had no uterus. The baby, later identified as Braxlyn Sage Hancock, was pronounced dead. Back in Texas, Reagan's family found her. From there, the case moved fast. Parker was extradited to Texas and charged with capital murder, and kidnapping. In 2022, she was found guilty after about an hour of jury deliberation and sentenced to death in November. Appeals through 2026 have not changed that outcome. The Texas Court of Criminal Appeals rejected an appeal, and the U.S. Supreme Court denied review. She remains on death row in Texas.
It's devastating. Reagan was in her final weeks. The loss of both mother and child, it's horrific. There's no clever way to say that. It's just monstrous.
Okay, so check this out. There's a theory floating around the darker corners of the internet. Some believe Parker followed an online playbook for fetal abduction. Like a clandestine guide that tells you what props to buy, what lies to tell, even how to pivot hospitals at the last minute so no one catches you without records. I know that sounds wild, but hear me out. Step 1 in that supposed playbook is persona. Parker didn't just lie. She ran parallel identities. Taylor Morton, Taylor Way Casey. She boasted about being an oil fortune heiress, while also dropping clinic speak about due dates and C-sections. That's not just storytelling, it's compartmentalizing. Then she drowned skepticism in spectacle, gender reveal, maternity shoot, the silicone belly, the printouts. You flood the feed with proof points. People stop asking hard questions. Can you imagine your friend doing that and not thinking, well, the pictures look real?
Or she's just a prolific liar with props and too much time on her hands. Sorry, not sorry. You don't need a hidden cabal to buy a silicone belly online.
Right, but then look at the pivot. On October 5th, she tells her boyfriend they're doing a C-section or induction at Titus Regional in Texas. Suddenly, on October 9th, she claims there's a bomb threat at that hospital and a fire at his house, so the birth is moving to Idabel, Oklahoma. That is classic playbook energy. like what hoaxers call a venue burn. You ditch the place that will expose you and pop into a new one where no one is waiting for your records.
Wait. Those bomb threat and fire claims were never verified. That's not choreography. That's an excuse. There's a difference between a plan and panic.
But she also brought a scalpel. That's not spur of the moment. Prosecutors showed she was searching about preterm delivery, like around 35 weeks, and about faking a pregnancy. The timing lines up with Reagan being 36 weeks. She knew the window was closing on her lie. She needed a newborn or the entire world would see through it. The fight in the house spread through multiple rooms, suggesting she had a plan, and then chaos hit. Honestly, it reads like a script that starts tight and then unravels under pressure. And then that roadside stop. A trooper sees an umbilical cord down her pants. At the hospital, staff ran an HCG test and an ultrasound, and it was immediately clear. She has no uterus, had not given birth, and refused further exam. Conspiracy folks say that refusal is a stalling tactic in the playbook, like, buy time, confuse the chain, and DNA later confirms the baby is Reagan's. The alleged endgame, the abduction of a viable infant, is done. Only the cordon collapses because of that traffic stop.
And hear me out. She's a solo offender committing a brutal, premeditated crime, improvising excuses as she goes. The hospital didn't need to crack some grand operation. A basic pregnancy test and an ultrasound ended the lie in minutes.
I get that. But the convergence of aliases, the clinic jargon, the elaborate staging, the venue switch, the brought instrument, it just feels bigger than one person winging it. Isn't that bananas? Makes you wonder if there's more to this story.
Let's move on to what we actually know. There's zero evidence of accomplices, handlers, or some secret coaching network presented at trial. Prosecutors hammered her personal planning. Her devices showed her own search history. No group chats, no instructions, no ghostly mentors. Those dramatic excuses, bomb threat, house fire, were treated as unverified lies. She alone was charged, extradited, tried, and sentenced. No co-defendants. The jury took about an hour to convict. That tells you the case narrative was tight, cohesive, and pointed straight at a lone offender. And multiple appeals, including to the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals and the U.S. Supreme Court, left it intact. If there were whispers of a network, that stuff tends to bubble up in appeals. Nothing.
Sure, but complexity can still be one person. I just keep thinking about how she mapped the social theater. Months of fake milestones. The maternity shoot, the reveal party, the silicone belly. And she targeted Reagan through a professional link as her engagement and wedding photographer. So she had friendly access to the home and knew the pregnancy was almost full term. That is calculated.
Calculated, yes. Coordinated by a hidden club, no. Psychologically, this reads like a long con by someone whose life is crumbling under the weight of her own lies. She had a hysterectomy. She knew there would never be a real due date. The pressure builds. She escalates. That's not mastermind energy. That's catastrophic thinking. You create an impossible promise and then do something unthinkable to keep it from collapsing.
I mean, you're not wrong that the psychology is front and center. And to be fair, the courtroom outcome is clear. The brutality, the planning, the searches, the scalpel. She owns that. The conspiracy idea just sticks in my head because the moves look so scripted.
Point is, we don't need a secret script to explain her choices. We have a person who built a life on deception, fake wealth, fake pregnancy, shifting stories. Then she escalated to violence to prop up a lie that was days from exposure. That's the entire axis of this case. And crucially, there's no evidence anyone else wrote those lines for her.
So the bigger question I can't shake is this. How far will someone go to maintain a lie? Like, once you have the costume and the audience and the calendar marked in everyone's phone, what won't you do to avoid the humiliation of exposure?
Farther than any of us want to believe. And that's why this case rattles people. It's not a ghost story. It's a human one, about fraud calcifying into violence.
If you want to dig deeper, check out the Netflix documentary Maternal Instinct. It walks through the timeline, the evidence, and the courtroom outcome. It's heavy, but thorough. All right, moving on. For the rest of the day, I'm definitely side-eyeing any suspiciously perfect baby bumps. Kidding, mostly. But seriously, folks, protect your circles. Ask questions when stuff doesn't line up.
I'm going to get you a coffee that is actually coffee. And then I'm going to keep believing in boring explanations over shadowy networks until proven otherwise.
Thank you for listening to The Veil, Unsolved and Unbelievable. Stay safe out there, trust your gut, and question everything.
We'll see you next time.